How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. With the 2020 NBA Hall of Fame class delayed till 2021, many superstars never get in. Some of them don't get nominated until after 20 years since their retirement. A bunch of current superstars are already a lock for first ballot, but some multiple-time All-Stars might not have enough accomplishments to get in. I made a video a few months back on 12 active players who are borderline Hall of Famers. If you haven't seen it yet, just click on the link above. Today, we'll take a look at every 20 points a game scorer in the NBA to not make the Hall of Fame.
Lou Hudson, picked 4th overall by the St. Louis Hawks, the 6'5" shooting guard / small forward, played 9 total seasons with the Hawks, 2 of the Lakers. The 6-time All-Star had a 6-year peak of 25.2 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 steals on 50% shooting. After winning just 39 games his rookie season, Hudson led St. Louis to 56 wins, stellar playoff numbers of 21.3 points, over 5 boards, made second team All-NBA in 1970. Him and Pete Maravich became the first ever backcourt to each score 2,000 points in the season. Sweet Lou had a nice stroke, even drafted by the Cowboys as a wide receiver in the '66 NFL draft. After playing great basketball, Hudson only played 11 games in the '75 season, suffered injuries, never the same after, never truly competed for a title. That's why he's not as remembered. Made the postseason 7 of his 10 healthy seasons with the Hawks, wasn't much of a factor his last 2 seasons with the Lakers. Basketball Reference has his Hall of Fame probability as 48%, right near Sidney Moncrief and Paul Westphal, both of whom got in. Was 12 in all-time scoring at the time of his retirement. Wasn't as fortunate as the Mitt Richmonds, Antoine Walkers, and Glenn Rice of the world, as they were all able to join the title team before retirement. Had he had played one more season, Hudson would have been a member of the 1980s Lakers title team. Geoff Petrie, one of the best players to ever come out of the Ivy League out of Princeton, the 6'2" guard drafted 8th overall by the Portland Trail Blazers, was co-rookie of the year alongside Dave Cowens, averaged 24.8 points, 4.8 assists right off the gate. One of the best rookies to not end up making the Hall. In fact, one of the best players all time to never appear in a single postseason game, never making the playoffs, spent all 6 seasons in Rip City, won between 18 to 38 games, made 2 All-Star teams, averaged between 18 to 25 points those years, most known being the first player to switch from the Converse shoe brand to the Nike brand during the 70s. Coincidentally, DeMarcus Cousins played 6 seasons with Sacramento, never made the postseason with the franchise once, and drafted by Petrie, who retired early due to injuries. Despite averaging 21.8 points for his career, the fact that he never went 500 in any year or made the postseason, simply not deserving of the Hall. John Drew, played 11 seasons in the NBA, picked 25th overall in the '74 draft. The 6'6" forward spent time with the Hawks and Jazz, averaged 20.7 points for his career, 6.9 rebounds, made 2 All-Star appearances in '76 and '80, made 5 postseasons, averages just 14 a game in 29 playoff games, putting up at least 20 points a game in 5 occasions, traded for Dominique Wilkins. Drew holds the record for most turnovers in a game, 14, tied with Jason Kidd, battled cocaine addiction during his career, missed 38 games in the '83 season, spent 8 weeks in rehab when he was still averaging over 21 a game. Sadly, continued to have drug problems post-playing career. According to a New York Times article, Drew first snorted coke for the first time during the '77-78 season, his 4th year, where he was averaging over 23 a game. Didn't improve since, shooting himself away from media requests in recent years, will never make the Hall, being the first player to be banned by Commissioner David Stern for multiple violations in the league's new substance abuse policy. World Be Free, the 6'2" guard selected 23rd overall by the Sixers in the '75 draft, played his best ball with the San Diego Clippers. His 3-year peak of almost 28 points, nearly 5 assists, even averaged 30.2 points in the 1980 season. His first and only All-Star appearance, the only non-active player to average 30 points in the season to not make the Hall of Fame, averaged 28.8 points during the '79 season, wasn't even selected to the All-Star game then, but made second team All-NBA, which made no sense, the only one of his career. Unfortunately, Free didn't make the postseason with the Clips, spent 2.5 seasons with Golden State, averaged 23.4 points, another 3.5 years with Cleveland, averaged 23 points, before finishing off with the Sixers and Rockets, a 20.3 points per game score, 886 games, barely had any postseason success, a role player for the '77 Sixers, only got past the first round one other time, called the Prince of Mid-Range. Free loved to go one-on-one against anybody, a smooth jumper. Shockingly, Basketball Reference gave him a 0.5% chance to make the Hall, having 8 straight seasons of of 20 plus points, super impressive for anybody. If people thought guys like Alex English and Adrian Dantley are forgotten, Free never gets mentioned at all. Most people in their 20s today have no idea who he is unless they're diehard NBA fans like me. If he had been in a stable organization and had more postseason success, Free would have been a lot more remembered. Marques Johnson. It's an absolute travesty. Johnson's not in the Hall of Fame. The 5-time All-Star averages 20.1 points, 7 rebounds, 52% shooting for his career, an instant impact for one of the most underrated teams in the early 80s. After Milwaukee moved to the East, just wasn't as good as Boston or Philly. Averaged 25.6 points his second season, put up at least 20 a game 6 different times, made first team All-NBA in 79, second team in 80 and 81, also an NCAA champion with UCLA, becoming the first ever college player to win the John Wooden Award in 77. The main reason why he keeps getting denied, having his career cut short by injury, hurt his neck going into his 10th season during his time with the Clippers, being one of the most unselfish players of his generation, went toe-to-toe with Dr. J many times. After shooting 55% from the field, putting up excellent scoring numbers, head coach Don Nelson asked, Johnson responded, I kind of got this thing going with George Gervin about who's gonna lead the league in scoring. I think I can average 30 and still shoot 55%. Nelly agreed, but wanted Marques to average about 20 to 21 a game and play good D, have a more balanced team and spread the wealth. That's why his numbers dropped significantly. MJ super underrated. Many fans today don't know of him unless they're Bucks fans. Mark Aguirre, one of the most underrated players as well, so underrated to the point many don't even talk about him. The 3-time All-Star was fantastic, had his jersey number retired by the Mavs, averaged 24.6 points, 5.7 rebounds on over 49% shooting in 7.5 seasons with Dallas, averaged as much as 29.5 points, doing so on 52% shooting as a 6'6" small forward. After the Pistons traded away Adrian Dantley for Aguirre, they won a title. From Mark putting up 21.7 points with the Mavs down to 15.5 points with Detroit, played more defense in a more balanced role because he was overshadowed by other great small forwards in Larry Bird, Dr. J, Dominique, Worthy, and Bernard King. Aguirre is easily one of the best shooters of his generation. The former #1 overall pick simply doesn't get talked about enough. Glenn Robinson. Big Dog averaged 20.7 points over 11 seasons. The first overall pick dominated from the get-go, put up 22 points as a rookie. Unfortunately, didn't find much playoff success as the first option. Bounced in the first round in 99 and 2000. Was part of a big three with Ray Allen and Sam Cassell for the 52-win 0-1 team. Lost a grueling 7-game series to Allen Iverson's Sixers, filled with many controversial calls favoring Philly. Robinson never became the superstar he was projected to be. After averaging over 30 points, 10 rebounds his final season at Purdue, spent a season with the Hawks in 03, averaged 20.8 points, but traded to Philly in the 04 season, slowed down by injuries. Robinson signed with the Spurs right before the 2005 playoffs, played 13 postseason games off the bench in limited minutes for the champs, which turned out to be his final season. The 2-time All-Star will be most remembered for his effective mid-range game. If the Bucks were to make the finals in 01 and Robinson played well against the Lakers, he would have gotten more recognition. I don't ever see him making the Hall of Fame. Chris Webber, one of the most deserving, still waiting his turn because the voters are still angry about his college days. It is an absolute disgrace of a travesty. Webber's still not in the Hall. The most accomplished individual player on this list, the 5-time All-Star, averaged 20.7 points, almost 10 rebounds, over 4 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks for his career, made 5 All-NBA teams, all between 99 to 03, a flat-out superstar and one of the best players in the early 2000s, finished 4th for MVP voting in 01, had the complete package for a power forward, an excellent post player, great passer, solid rebounder, protected the paint, can knock down the outside shot and go to the basket, dunk on guys. No weaknesses in this game except in crunch time. Basketball Reference has him listed at 14.6%, but I say BS on that. One of the most unlucky stars all time, the 2002 Kings will always be one of the biggest tragedies, having their chances crushed, but it was even more tragic. Webber's ACL injury in Game 3 of the 03 semifinals against Dallas ruined the Kings' greatness, never the same afterwards. Many strongly believe Sacramento would have won the 03 title if it wasn't for C-Web getting hurt. Having 10 seasons of averaging at least 20 points, any player to average around 20 and 10 in over 800 career games would be an instant Hall of Famer. Eventually, Webber will make it. The fact that his teammate Vlade Divac made it before him, absolutely mind-blowing. Being one of the most dominant players at his peak, Webber was up there as one of the best power forwards right behind Duncan and Garnett in the early 2000s. Gilbert Arenas, who would have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't blow out his knee towards the end of the 07 season, never the same after. Many remember Derrick Rose's injury at 23 years old. Gilbert was only 25. The best scoring point guard a decade ahead of his time, took over games and can create his own shot at any time. Arenas' 3-year peak from 05 to 07, almost 28 points, memorable for his duo with the best of the best, dropped 60 on Kobe's Lakers one time. The 3-time All-Star also made 3 All-NBA teams, 3rd team in 05 and 06, 2nd team in 07. Washington won 2 and 6 without him. The end of the 07 season, Arenas would easily average over 30 points in today's NBA as the #1 option, no doubt about that. A top 10 player before the injuries, has a lot of Steph Curry and James Harden offense in his game. Prime Gilbert would score like Damian Lillard today, has an insane quick first step, a joy to watch. His promising career ended too early, would have been an MVP candidate for multiple years and made many more All-Star teams if it wasn't for his knee injuries. Honorable mentions includes Mike Mitchell and Kiki Vandeweghe, who averaged 19.8 points and 19.7 points respectively, both been All-Stars. John Brisker, Bob Verga, and Daryl Carrier averaged over 20 points for their ABA careers.
Which one of these 20-point scorers outside of Chris Webber deserves to make the Hall? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for more content, more good stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.